Welcome to Saratoga Live on the final Saturday of the meet. Great to have you with us. Closing weekend, Monday, of course, closing day on Labor Day, and it is Woodward Day. It's presented by Claiborne Farm, 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. Beautiful weather, great crowd on hand here in Saratoga Springs, New York, trying to get in a few more days of the premier race meets in the entire country. We're loaded with tremendous action coming up. Good to be with you. Greg Wolf alongside one of the top trainers in the country. Has Lone Sailor going later in action today in the Super Derby. We're going to talk obviously about the big one here, the Woodward, in a little bit. Race that we have during our show, however, horse that won the Woodward a little ways back. It was the first time I ever made a trip here. That was Rachel Alexandra and her brother. Very impressive here at Saratoga in his last start, and that is Wooderson. He's running back.
He's running back in our 5th race. We got one race before that, first level allowance race. Here's Wooderson right here. The one thing that concerns me with Wooderson, although a winner today, he's moving up a condition and allowance level. So what he's done in this race, every other horse that he's running against today has also already done. It's not as if he puts away the entire group.
It wasn't 1 1/8. That is the distance of today's race, but he is taking on multiple winners, older horses, so this will be a tough test for the brother of Rachel Alexandra. And coming up in race 5. I want to remind everyone, get signed up, started, play along, $200 new member sign-up bonus. Use that code Saratoga Live. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. There is a look at the 4th race on the card. Mile Inner Turf, allowance optional claiming race, breaking the rules. Right now, the favorite for Shug McGahee, adding blinkers from the inside post. Let's send it downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale for a paddock report. It's brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Curlin for $150,000.
Thanks, Greg. And I'm starting to wonder if Shug McGahee is listening to me, because I oddly said that I'd love to see breaking the rules on the turf in his last start. And boom, here he is going a mile on the inner turf course, which is absolutely ideal. This guy should handle the turf. He has enough pedigree. He's by Warfront. He's half to Bombs Away, who's a turf winner himself. And 2, he looks as though he could be the pace setter in here, as those blinkers do go on. And he is sharp. He is on his toes. We'll see what he can do, strutting his stuff on the lawn. Number 2 is Holiday Stone, one of 2 horses coming back off layoffs. This is a big, impressive, imposing looking type of animal, and I like that about him. He's probably about 90% fit. I think he'll run well today. I just don't know if it will be a winning one, as we'll send it over across the paddock to Andy Serling and Paula Duca.
Thanks so much, Maggie. It is a beautiful day here in Saratoga. We got a nice crowd out for a terrific card, 12 races, 14-horse Woodward, lots of good stuff going on. This is a terrific, interesting race. Now, I was interested in betting the one breaking the rules, Paul, but I'm, once again, not taking 5-2 or 3-1 on a horse trying the turf for the first time. It just seems like bad value.
Yeah, sometimes, I get it, but Son of Warfront, usually they'll be able to handle it, and I can understand where the public is going. But you're right. You never know, and you just don't want to take that low of a price.
And there's some pretty good horses in here, and I think breaking the rules is a good horse, too, and I won't be surprised if he wins, but this is a real Saratoga allowance. You got horses coming from all directions.
No, I actually think Hembry, the 7 is a long shot look.
I agree.
The 5 team colors. There's some horses in good form in here.
No, I agree. You could go through this field and make reasonable cases for pretty much everybody in this race. It's a tough race. Even a horse like the 9 Monster B changing barns, bad post, but a horse that likes a mile, and he's not impossible.
Here comes our post parade. We're going to start with breaking the rules for Shug McGahee, the son of Warfront, putting blinkers on today with Irad Ortiz Jr., the meet's leading rider.
After a horse Bombs Away, who had some talent in the dirt but improved on the turf, and Shug's trying the turf, and he certainly drew the right post.
Holiday Stone coming out of a stakes race out on the West Coast at Santa Anita. This is the 4-year-old debut.
Yeah, this is the horse that I would play against. Usually when they go from East Coast to West Coast on the turf, they usually do better. And this one couldn't even get a win in an optional claimer. This is a way better field.
Aki School, 15-1, trained by Brian Lynch with John Velasquez.
2 years ago on the Woodward card, this horse beat future Grade 1 winner Annals of Time. That Hockey School is long gone. He has some talent going back, though.
Meets leading trainer trying to set a new record for wins. Chad Brown here at the Saratoga meet. Here's Night Prowler for him with Javier Castellano.
0 for 7 in the last 2 years, but then you look down at the 6-year-old gelding and has a couple races that would crush this group. Just wonder if he can get back to that form.
Robertino Diodoro off the claim with team colors, and David Cohen will ride.
As good as Diodoro's off the claim, his numbers off the claim on the turf, particularly in New York, have been weak. But this horse ran very well last time against the grain of the race.
Hembry has Manny Franco aboard for trainer Mike Maker. Never been worse than second in 3 tries on the Saratoga turf.
I agree with Paul. This horse is a player to price in this race. He ran very well last time and should get a decent trip stalking the speed of the 8 Attribute.
And here is Attribute. He is quick, and he's got a speedy rider, and Kendrick Carmouche aboard for Danny Gargan.
Yeah, he's an old school type of horse. He's going to try to open up 3-4 lengths, even 2 back on a sloppy racetrack. He crushed your group with his speed. Look for him early.
And Monster B on the outside at 11-1. Carlos Martin off the claim. Jose Lizcano will ride.
Given no chance last time in a paceless race, claimed by the very sharp Matt Scherer. This horse is not out of it at a big price.
At your field for race 4 here. Coming up, mile on the inner turf. We're approaching the 6-minute mark to post. You can play along today and every day on our show without risking any of your own money. Get involved with that Saratoga Showdown online contest. You're competing for real prizes like a grand prize ticket package to next year's Belmont Stakes. Go to NYRA.com/showdown or to SaratogaShowdown.com to get involved and play along. And if you're new to the sport, a good way to kind of get introduced to it and how to get betting. 4th race, the first we're going to show you today, race number 5, mile and 1/8 on the main track. That's where we're going to see Wooderson, brother to Rachel Alexandra. 6th race, maidens on the turf at a mile and 1/16. Race 7, 6.5 sprinting, allowance optional claiming race. And then the Naira Bets late pick 5. We'll bring you that opening leg of the sequence. Mile on the inner turf begins in race 8, just after 5 o'clock Eastern time. Later in the card, and this is the rest of that Naira Bets late pick 5. You can watch on your Naira Bets app. We're over on NBC. The Saranac Grade 3, Grade 1 Spinaway. Sister to American Pharaoh, Triple Crown winner coming here for Bob Baffert in that race. The Grade 1 Woodward is loaded, wide open betting race. And the sequence ends with the Glens Falls, where Chad Brown looks absolutely loaded with 3 contenders, Tom.
He does indeed. Chad Brown looks loaded today. He's got contenders all across the board. I look for him early on the first half of the card to be his best part of the card, or middle of the card, let's say. So early for us. We're starting the 4th race. Let's see what happens.
Weather and track conditions presented by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of the Saratoga Racecourse. Piranha on, Pets gone. You saw fast on the main track in that turf course condition. Listed is good for today's action. But here a look at our current favorite here in the 4th race. This is breaking the rules, trying the turf for the very first time for Hall of Famer Shug McGahee. And you look at him, first time on turf without maidens over the last 5 years, 25%.
Yeah, so Breaking the Rules has a pedigree that would suggest turf is a possibility. It's not going to wow you for the grass. So as this horse goes against horses that have maybe more seasoned on the grass and have won a lot of races on the grass, this being a 2 other than allowance race, it's hard for me to turn to Breaking the Rules at 3-1 and say, yeah, I'm going to go for you first time on the grass. I just can't do that.
I don't disagree with Tom that the price makes him tough to take. I was hoping for closer to 5-1 and obviously not getting it. What I thought was interesting about that stat and why I put it up with, most of the time when you look at horses trying the grass the first time, they're maidens, whether they go there right away because of pedigree or they go there because they're too slow on dirt or whatever. Shug McGahee is a different kind of trainer. Shug will exhaust the dirt opportunities frequently with his horses that have pedigrees for both surfaces. A horse like Lure, I mean, obviously he's an extreme example, but he ran very big races, ran well enough, but he realized he wasn't going to be a top 3-year-old. He went him on the grass, and he became one of the top turf horses in America, maybe of all time. And he's done this before. He's very good at finding the horses and going to the grass eventually. And these Phipps pedigrees, while they obviously handle the dirt with the Buck Passer and Bold Ruler influences, they all have the pedigree to handle the turf going back somewhere. This horse's second dam is a producer of 3 turf winners from 3 to try it.
Meanwhile, look at the 4 here at 3-1 on the board. This is Night Prowler, Chad Brown, trying to set the new mark for victories here at this Saratoga meeting, and then making an equipment change here, Tom, with the blinkers going on.
Yeah, look, Chad often makes this change, blinkers on. It's usually because his horses have a lot more stamina than speed when it comes to these 2-turn turf races. Trying to get something a little different with Night Prowler. It's the right move. He hasn't won in 2 years. His first race back this year, I thought it was actually pretty good, and I love him going back to 2 turns.
Well, more on Night Prowler. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Yeah, I do have to agree with Tom. There's, in regards to 2 turns, and kudos to Chad Brown and his owner, breeder Paul Pompa, for being the utmost patient of connections with this runner who consistently has lines and layoffs in his form. Now, last time I thought he looked somewhat fit, not as fit as you'd like to see, going back to that gap between the November races and the July effort back at Belmont. He is a little more well-defined this time around. The blinkers do go on just a shortcut, not changing too much, but then again, changing just enough to try to wake this horse up a little bit here, as he will be in for the tag for the first time, as number 5 Team Colors was picked up for $50,000 in his last start. I would not want to be a trainer claiming off Jimmy Jerkins. This is a guy who knows exactly what he's doing. But Robertino Diodoro is a guy who picks up horses from whoever and tends to have success with them. But Team Colors, while he looks fantastic, and I liked him last time, had a bit of a taxing trip in that 50, but he does come back wearing front bandages, and that is just something you don't see with turf horses that much. Rundowns aren't necessarily needed unless they're protecting something. So Team Colors, I would proceed with caution, guys.
All right, Maggie, thank you. Meanwhile, we're going to check in on Hembry in here, who we mentioned in the post-parade. Never worse than second here. 3 tries on the Saratoga turf at Paul Duca. You've gone to the Son of Proud Citizen.
Yeah, I think this horse sits a really good trip. You look at Hockey School in here, the 3, the 2 Holiday Stone, breaking the rules, going to try to turf for the first time, off sprints. Blinkers are going on Night Prowler. We know that Attribute is the horse that's going to go to the front end. So Embry is a horse to me that can sit from off the pace like he showed last time, off the claim now from Michael Maker, second time on the turf in his barn, and I thought was very good last time. And at 7-1, I am coming right back. 132-2, I get it. It was very, very fast, and there's a lot of give, but this horse was impressive last time.
I have no disagreement with that, Paul. I think that horse is a decent price at 7 and picked second. Totally with you.
Meanwhile, Tom, we should note the rail is out 18 feet here on the inner turf course. Oftentimes, that can mean speed plays well. Who goes with Attribute, the 8 here in this race?
Nobody. Advantage to the 8-horse Attribute. I mean, look, Kendrick has shown on this turf course what he likes to do. He likes to go to the front out of the gate. That's Attribute's game. What I don't like about Attribute is in 6 turf tries, he hasn't won yet. He's gotten close, 4 seconds, and they've run good races. But he's going to be the speed today. He's the speed out of the gate. I wonder how close are the rest going to be to him and whether his lone speed changes the whole complexion of this race as far as strategy behind him.
I'm with Tom. I think the favorite is very vulnerable in here. There's a big difference between wiring the field or running very well on a very rock-hard turf course at Belmont around 1 turn and trying to do it around 2 turns on a good course here. I think he's a terrible underlay at 9-5.
There he is with Kendrick Carmouche, and he is the underlay because he's the only one who's going to be in front here, you would think. Or you think there's a chance? I mean, in the past, I think he's just too quick for the other end. Holiday Stone is, on occasion, the 2 shown a little bit of pace. Hockey School, the 3, on occasion has shown a little pace.
Yeah,
I just don't think they're quick enough.
No, none of them are quick enough to go with Attribute. I do want to say that our other horse, the 4 Night Prowler, this is a horse that hasn't faced this weak of field in a long, long time.
And you just saw his trainer there, Chad Brown, trainer of the 4, trying to set the new all-time record for victories here at the meet with Night Prowler. Here we go. Race 4. Let's go to Larry Colmus.
They're off. And Holiday Stone comes out running, and there goes Attribute on the outside, and losing the rider right after the break was Team Colors. Team Colors has unseated David Cohen, who is getting up after being unseated and is walking off the turf course here. So they make their way into that clubhouse turn, and it is Attribute in front, on top by a length and a half. Monster B is running in second. Holiday Stone is third by another 2. And then it's Hembry in fourth. Night Prowler fifth on the outside. Breaking the rules is next. And it's 4 lengths more back to Hockey School at the rear of the field. So the opening quarter mile was 23.76 seconds, and they're heading up the backstretch with Attribute in front. And on top by 2 lengths over Monster B in second. Holiday Stone is third on the inside. Hembry follows in 4th position. And then toward the inside, it is Night Prowler with that loose horse right next to Night Prowler. And then comes Breaking the Rules and Hockey School. 47.23 was the half mile as they make their way around the far turn. Attribute on top and in the clear by 2 lengths. Holiday Stone second, getting a bit closer now. And then on the outside, it's Hembry in third. Monster Bee is fourth. Then Night Prowler on the outside. They're coming to the top of the stretch. Attribute turning for home, taken on by Holiday Stone. Holiday Stone to the front. On the outside, Night Prowler is trying to close in the final furlong. Holiday Stone a length and a half. Night Prowler on the outside, second. Hembry is third. Holiday Stone still there from Night Prowler and Hembry. Holiday Stone, Night Prowler, late run from Breaking the Rules. They're coming to the line. Holiday Stone holds on. And then it was Night Prowler beaten ahead on the wire, followed by Breaking the Rules and Hembry.
The record will have to wait. Holiday Stone coming out of a grade 2 out on the West Coast. 4-year-old debut. A winning one here for trainer George Weaver.
Yeah, look, 2 back against Caribou Club. Ran a very, very good race at Del Mar. Caribou Club came back to be a double stakes winner and a graded stakes winner. This horse, Holiday Stone, took that form and used it today. As far as the loose horse goes, he was actually in the mix in the field. I watched closely. I didn't see him interfere with any real horse.
There's David Cohen. Great to see him getting up and walking off under his own power after the spill. So that's the best news that we have.
As far as the 2 Holiday Stone, he's always been a talented runner, and he's been extremely unlucky in a number of races. And today, Luis Saez gave him a great ride. He used his inside position for early position, something Breaking the Rules did not really do in this race, and he came closing for third. George Weaver doesn't often win off layoffs, Paul, but this horse had credentials. It was the layoff that was a concern. Didn't matter today.
No, it didn't. I actually didn't like this horse. I thought it was a great ride by Louis. Great job by George Weaver to have this horse ready. They tinkered blinkers with this horse. 0 for 11 last year. But you made a good point, Wolfie. 4-year-old debut. He might have grown up.
2-4-1-7, and you get a 701 shot here with Holiday Stone. There's George Weaver. Heading to the winner's circle, it's picture time for owners Jim and Susan Hill. Luis Saez aboard for the winning ride. Son of Harlan's Holiday at a price here in the 4th. We'll be back with the prices right after this on Saratoga Live.
Once again, among the world's leading sires of stakes horses and graded stakes horses, Warfront has sired 8 champions and 8 millionaires. Recent Grade 1 winners include European champion U.S. Navy flag and Lancaster Bomber, plus an ever-growing list of 2018 graded stakes winners. In the sales rate, his yearlings continue to bring prices well over $1 million. International Super Sire Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
Dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Well, welcome back to Saratoga Live here. A few anxious moments, that's for sure, for jockey David Cohen. Team Colors, Dave, what happened? A couple strides out of the gate, and you were on the ground.
Yeah, you know, I really didn't feel that I may have grabbed a heel from the outside horse. My horse stumbled, but when he did, he just really didn't recover at all. And in order for him to recover, he basically shot from underneath me. But just fortunate to be all right.
Yeah, wow, it was really scary for a second. I mean, yeah, everything kind of went out from underneath of him and you.
Yeah, no, exactly. And, you know, when that happens, you just pray you don't get ran over. So it's fortunate that no one else got injured in the race, and he got around there safely, and we're all in one piece.
It's good to see you smiling here, and look forward to seeing you the rest of the day on the card.
That's it. Let's keep it going.
All right, guys, back to you. Thanks.
Maggie, thank you. I mean, it's so dangerous what these guys do. These are 1,000-pound-plus animals, but you saw Team Colors, the horse that dropped him, get right back up. He actually finished the race. That could be a scary situation for the rest of the field, but good to see that both horse and rider are okay.
Yeah, look, I mean, he clipped heels. You can see it on the replay, and that's no different than me sticking my foot out when you're walking down the street. You're going to trip. So he tripped him. It wasn't done on purpose, obviously, and horse or jockey position out of the gate. It's fortunate it happened on the grass. The grass is soft. When David fell, he's on a nice soft surface, and when the horse recovered, he's on a nice soft surface too.
Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale, standing by with winning trainer George Weaver.
That's right, Greg. Pleased to be here with George, who brought back Holiday Stone off of that layoff dating back to December, George. Talk about getting him ready. He certainly was here today.
Well, he's a very forward training horse, and to be honest, he was ready earlier in the meet. We just, he was in a mile 16th race early on, and they took it off the turf, so we had to wait. I really wanted to go a mile, so it all worked out in the end. But fitness was not going to be an issue today. He was ready.
A horse that kind of danced every dance last year as a 3-year-old. You took him out to California. Did that not go as well as you had hoped?
Well, the owner, Jim Hill, wanted to go out there for the Del Mar meet, which we really enjoyed. It's a beautiful spot, and I think part of his reasoning was he was like, I just want to get some firm turf for some of these horses. He's used to hanging around Aqueduct and Keeneland and Churchill, and it's just always a bog. You know, the horses that don't like it. So we went out there with a few horses last year, and he was one of them. And he ran with blinkers on and kind of had a bad experience the first time we ran him. But then we took the blinkers off, and the 2 other day, he ran big. And the next race wasn't as bad as it looked, but he just needed a break at that point. So we sent him home. Nothing wrong with him. He had been going for a long time.
And am I almost right in saying that it almost feels as though he might like a little give in the ground now?
He handled it. I don't think he wants that much give in it. He can handle a little bit, but not a lot. You know, we ran him at Kentucky Downs last fall, and he was, you know, staggering there at the end of the race to get his 3rd. But I was hopeful that it wouldn't bother him today, and I told Louis not to move too soon, and luckily he got home by that little bit.
Well, George, congratulations. Nice performance.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right, guys. Holiday Stone returning as a winner as a 4-year-old.
Yeah, that is a big effort off the bench. You wear shades when you go to the winner's circle?
Do I wear shades?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Why are you asking?
I just wondered. George Weaver had shades on.
He's a little more famous than I am. He can wear whatever the heck he wants.
4th in the books. We move on race 5, and this is where we're going to see the brother to Rachel, Alexandra, who was the Woodward winner, beating older males as a 3-year-old filly. She set the racing world on fire with that performance. And Wooderson opens here at 5-2 for trainer Todd Pletcher and Let's Go Stable.
His last race, Wooderson's last race here on July 22nd, was such a big improvement over his first 2 that I understand the favoritism there.
There's Sam the Bugler. Have an interesting piece on him, saying goodbye after a quarter of a century. And of course, we'll preview the Grade 1 Woodward coming up. Gunnavera second in last year's Travers. And Yoshida getting on the dirt for the very first time for the Hall of Famer Bill Mott. We'll talk about it next.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NYRABets.com.
Serious on Gunnavera, and there he goes now. And Gunnavera, in a blink of an eye, right to the front. Leitone back to second. Millionaire Runner is third, and this one's over. At the top of the stretch, it's the very classy Gunnavera who brings his cards to the table and has a winning hand. He's running up the score inside the final 16th of a mile. After this performance, he's got a trip to the spa. Gunnavera, easily.
That was Gunnavera's comeback performance after going to the Dubai World Cup. This field, 14 lining up, no one's scaring anybody away. And Gunnavera, 4-1, is your morning line favorite. He ran very big on this surface last year in the Travers.
He did indeed. He wants pace. In that race we just watched down at Gulfstream, he took a lot of riding to get to that point at the head of the lane. Even with 14 horses in this Woodward, I don't see a lot of pace for the 9-horse Gunnavera. That could be a problem for the favorite, too, Seeking the Soul.
Meanwhile, Chad Brown sending out Kirilov, who's a Group 1 winner in Chile on dirt, and he got him back on the dirt here at Saratoga in the Aladar.
He did, and I actually thought the Aladar was a good race. I watched this horse's replays. He's got to be a difficult horse to ride. Look how many times he's either won or gotten close. Neck, head, nose. He's a horse that waits on other horses, so he's got to be ridden carefully. The rider change to Jose Ortiz from Irad Ortiz, I think that could make a difference.
7-time winner. Of course, as we mentioned, Group 1 winner in Chile. We'll see how he does for Chad Brown in that race, but this is so wide open, guys, including a horse taking a shot who has never been on dirt before in Yoshida.
Yeah, and Yoshida for me is an interesting runner just because of the pedigree, okay? You got the Japanese pedigree, never been on dirt before. For the bottom side of it, Canadian Frontier, there is plenty of dirt. And obviously on the top side, Heart's Cry was a great turf horse. But Sunday Silence, a lot of people forget he won the Santa Anita Derby, the Kentucky Derby, and he also won the Preakness before getting blown away by Easy Goer in the Belmont Andy. Listen, I don't love the price, but I do think he'll take to the dirt. We'll just see if he's good enough.
It's a wide open race. Doesn't look like a short priced horse to me, but this is a very, very tough race. I think one of the things with this race is, and it's not going to help my top pick in this race, actually, who's Seeking the Soul, is such a big field. You're better off with horses that might be more forwardly placed because the possibility of traffic and tough trips really could come into play. Now, when you get a rider like Javier Castellano, obviously you've got one of the best riders in the world, so there's a chance he'll give him a good ride, as he often does, especially in big races. Dallas Stewart did a great job with Lemons Forever Unbridled.
Yeah, Forever Unbridled.
Last year, you know, he ran her the one prep race at Churchill, and then she came to Saratoga and she beat Songbird. She wanted to win the Breeders' Cup. And you almost see a similar pattern with Seeking the Soul, and some will think, well, he lost to a more inferior horse last time out. He lost to a Brad Cox horse, was able to control in the front end. It's a pretty darn good horse, and I think Seeking the Soul could be primed and ready to go in this race, but he's got to work out a trip. We don't see 14-horse fields around here too often, especially in dirt.
No, and I want to ask the guys upstairs and ask you, 14-horse Grade 1, where there is no dead set front runner. We do not know really who's going to go in front, or a horse that really loves to go to front. That's, to me, makes the race even more interesting.
I couldn't agree more with you. I think if somebody wants to be clever in here and send a horse that maybe doesn't appear to have a ton of speed, they might benefit from it, but you never know. Sometimes the less speed they seem to have, the more pace we see.
Yeah, who will be the aggressor and try and dictate pace in this race?
That's a good question. I mean, I see maybe some pace from the 6, the 7, or the 12, perhaps. But if this pace is light, I think it really hurts some of the contenders in this race. Some of the contenders are going to be bet on more than others.
That coming up later in the card. We will be signed off by then. You can watch, of course, on the Naira Bets app or over on NBC. You can, of course, bet the Woodward Trifecta on the Naira Bets app as well and score a 10% winner's bonus. The app available in the App Store or for Android on NairaBets.com. Just place a $-based trifecta on the app to qualify. Visit NairaBets.com for more info on all the Saratoga bonuses. Right now, we got race 5, 17 minutes away as we take a look at the field current odds. 1 1/8 first allowance condition in here. And who can get the 1 1/8 against this group? Wooderson obviously got it last time out in a maiden win. Now taking that step up and facing older horses and multiple winners like Uncle Si here in this spot.
Yeah, well, this race doesn't lack speed or pace. There's a lot of pace in here, and that might fit well for Uncle Si, who does have tactical speed and can do some different things. He was second in this condition the last time over the mud at Saratoga on August the 3rd.
And we also have a horse who wants to show some front-running ability here in this spot, and that would be in the 5. Weather Whiz for trainer Jimmy Jerkins. He should be forwardly placed. He was in that Uncle Si race, who just finished ahead of Can You Dig It in that spot as well. Came back and ran big for Jimmy Jerkins.
Yeah, he's had some good races, but Andy would be able to address this better than me. But watching his races, I got the impression he was a better 1-turn horse than 2-turn horse.
16 minutes to post. You can ask him that question when we come back from a short timeout. Javier Castellano, he'll ride Weather Whiz for Jimmy Jerkins, and he could be wheeling and dealing on the front end here in this spot. We'll learn more about the 4-time Eclipse Award winning rider when we come back.
Turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring back there in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
It is still the filly in front. A dramatic stretch drive awaits in the Woodward Stakes. On the outside, here's Bulls Bay and Calvin Burrell imploring his filly for more. And Rachel Alexandra holds on to the lead. Bulls Bay is second. Macho again is making a tremendous run for the back of the pack. Rachel Alexandra, Macho again. They're coming down to the finish. It's going to be desperately close. Here's the wire. Rachel won. She is indeed Rachel Alexandra the Great.
One of the great moments in the history of this historic racetrack. A 3-year-old filly beating older males in a Grade 1, and she took wave after wave of horses coming at her and held them all off for that performance.
Big race indeed. That was Calvin Burrell you were looking at, giving that finger #1, and she was.
Current odds for this 5th race here, mile and an 1/8 entry-level allowance. There is the brother to Rachel Alexandra. That is Wooderson. At a mile and an 1/8 here at Saratoga last time out, ran a huge effort to get the win, so now facing winners for the first time. Let's send it downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale for a paddock report, brought to you by Hillendale Farm, now standing Byron for $15,000.
Well, Greg, I definitely like the way that Wooderson has come out of that maiden score and back to the races here today. Last time, despite it being his 3rd start of his career, he was behaving like it was his 1st. He was screaming to the other horses. He just seemed a bit distracted. And while physically I liked him, I was concerned about that. But he definitely trumped my opinion out on the racetrack. But boy, has he come back with the proverbial light bulb gone off. He's bowed his neck. He's nicely on the bridle. I have not heard him holler to anybody this time around. He's gotten stronger physically as well. Wooderson might be putting everything all together now that he's found a distance that he can be proficient at. Well, at current favoritism is the new face and #7 Plainsman, who will go out for Brad Cox here. And don't get me wrong, Plainsman is very good looking. This is just what I love to see in a horse. Elegantly balanced, beautiful long neck. Now he's getting on his toes a bit more now that the riders are about to get up, which I like because he was very quiet to begin with. The big question with him though, is he best going a mile and an 1/8? And here, we'll see. I would have loved him if this was a 1-turn mile type of race back at Belmont, but we'll see how he handles the 9 furlongs. Andy, what do you think about our current favorite here in this race?
Well, I think he can win, and I think he's a major player, but I'm more interested in talking about Wooderson's. I think Wooderson's, I'll put him in the winner's circle, Paul. I don't like this horse at all. He was beating horses last time, and I bet him last time, by setting a very slow pace and a very soft pace scenario on a track that was very kind to speed. He's in a race, as Tom mentioned earlier, with considerably more speed and better, more accomplished horses. To me, he's a terrible bet at 3-1.
Yeah, anytime you go first time into winners, and you have a couple horses in here that are multiple winners. I know that the 2 in the 6 are a long shot, but Uncle Si is dance some dances now. So yeah, you got a maiden against a horse that's run against some Triple Crown horses at one time in his career. So yeah, I'm with you. It's a bad bet at that price. Now, does he have the most upside in here? Of course. He's only 3 years old. I get that, but not at that price.
I agree. He has a lot of upside. Todd Fletcher, 0 for 9 with horses off maiden wins in dirt routes at Saratoga over the last 5 years.
Call to post from Sam the Bugler. We're going to have more again on Sam a little bit later on in the show as we say goodbye to him over these last few days of the meet. And here is Uncle Si, the 7-year-old son of Indian Charlie, for Chris Englehart with Jose Ortiz.
They finally got him back to the dirt after running the turf, and this was a surface he was always meant for, and he's been terrific in all of his recent races.
5-1 on Mr. Dougie Fresh. Kieran McLaughlin sends out this runner with Junior Alvarado.
You know, this horse got a little bit of pace, and I'm wondering if Junior's going to send from the inside. He looks like he could sit a good trip in here.
Lenstar, I think he has a shot at this race here for Nick Zito. 21-1, Luis Saez aboard.
Going to be a tough road to hoe for a horse who has a lot of speed. Now, he's not untalented, but a mile and 1/8 with other speed in here, he'll be moving early, but will he be there late?
Wooderson, so here's the brother to Rachel Alexandra, who, of course, won the Woodward. It is Woodward Day. Can her brother get it done?
Yeah, I would look for him a little bit farther off the pace today, but the blinkers have certainly helped this son of Awesome again.
Here's Weather Whiz for Jimmy Jerkins and Javier Castellano rides.
Listen, I think Tom is right. This is a horse who's better when he can control around one turn. But he didn't run badly last time out. The problem is he's got to deal with other speed and then hold off the closers.
Trace Iquis, Rudolph Brissett, second off the claim. He has Jose Lezcano riding.
Yeah, this horse beat a 7-horse field for 8,000 at Churchill to give him a little bit of a, I guess, boost. But I don't know about today.
And Plainsman, Joel Rosario rides for new trainer here, Brad Cox.
Never a bad thing to switch to Brad Cox's barn. I'm not concerned about the distance, and I think he's a huge player.
Son of Flatter trying to pick up the second win of his career. 5-2 favorite right now. Get signed up, get started, play along, and you get a $200 new member bonus in your NyraBets account when you use the promo code Saratoga Live. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime with the NyraBets app. There is Wooderson, the brother to Rachel Alexandra, facing winners for the very first time after that impressive maiden score here at Saratoga back on July 22nd. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale for more.
And here with his trainer, Greg, and Todd Pletcher. And Wooderson, Todd, a horse that really dominated that maiden special weight field last time out. Did you see an improvement from him from that start to this start here today?
I do. Actually, the horse is trained really well. I thought his breezes since his maiden win have been quite good. My biggest concern is stretching out in a race like this or running in a race like this. We're facing horses that are much more seasoned than he is, and it's one of the tough things about the one other than condition in New York is it's open to horses like Uncle Si who have multiple starts, multiple wins. But, you know, hopefully he's, with a couple races under his belt, he's advanced enough to compete with those type of horses.
And a horse that, obviously, I have to Rachel Alexandra. Her history is very storied here at Saratoga, especially on Woodward Day. Feel any pressure?
No pressure, feeling that way, but maybe it'd be a good coincidence if he could step up and win a race the same day she won the Woodward. But you know, I do like the way he's training. I think he's a horse that's always gotten a little better as he's gotten a little older, and you know, hopefully has a bright future.
Todd, your day is just getting started. 3 in the Spinaway, 3 in the Woodward. But what about the Saranac? Murad ran a very good second last time out.
He did. He ran quite well, and I think he got a little bit surprised when he put away the horse to the inside, and I think both he and Irad thought he had the race won and then got nailed just the last jump. So I think the mile and 8 should suit him well today. He's doing well, and we're hoping for a good effort.
Mile and 8 again in the Woodward. 3 in there, as I said. Rally Cry, though, that's a tough post from the 14 hole.
I don't know if we know it's a tough post because no one's ever run from it. But going a mile and 8, I look back, I don't think anyone's ever started at a mile and an 8 from the 14 post. So yeah, it's a tall ask, but the horse, he's always been a super impressive horse in the mornings. His win in the Aladar last year, you know, a race like that would make him competitive in here. So hopefully Mike Smith can work out a good trip from way out there.
Certainly got the right guy in the saddle, that's for sure. Well, Todd, best of luck with all your runners here today.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll see what Wooderson can do on Woodward Day. It could also be called Rachel Day.
That certainly could, after she beat older males in the Woodward, and here's her brother. Like, it would all come together. It's
okay, you ready, Paul?
Very fitting here in this spot. And, of course, Rally Cry, who Todd Pletcher will send out in the Woodward. He just exploded on this racetrack last summer in that Aladar.
He did. Look, he's had some foot issues. There's no question about that. In his last race, they put bar shoes on him. That's never a good sign for a racehorse after running those. That's a hindrance. He didn't run well. They're off today. Maybe that'll help. I'm not so sure that post 14, when was asked about it, that Todd Pletcher wasn't saying, why the heck are they running 14 horses from a mile and an 8? I mean, 12 seems like what should be the limit. I would tend to agree with him.
Yeah, not a lot of time, too, to get over from where they line up at a mile and an 8 here at Saratoga.
No doubt.
I'm going to disagree with Tom. I like a field of 14. I think it's nice to have a big field of horses. You know, the Woodward was won in consecutive years from 79 to 80 by Forgo, Seattle Slew, Affirmed, and Spectacular Bid. Now, Rachel Alexander is no bigger fan than me, but those are 4 of the greatest horses of all time.
They are indeed. I'm going to do my best Bob Knight impression. They ain't no Rachel Alexander in this race, or no Alidar, or no Affirmed.
Well, you know, that's kind of the beauty of it. Because there's no superstar in there, a lot of people want to take a shot at what's a very big and important race. And I think that's why it came up such a fun field. I can't wait for today's Woodward.
I think it says a lot about the handicap division. I think it's still open, despite what Accelerate is doing out on the West Coast. I think this is still a wide open division. Diversify's not in here today. I think it's a wide open group.
No, you know, you make a good point. To me, when you go around town or talked about anybody with horse racing, everybody, I think Accelerate is almost a Rodney Dangerfield, doesn't get his due. And I think a lot of the people now are justified going away going, okay, Catholic Boy now has a shot against the older horses. Some of these 3-year-olds have chances against older horses. And I don't know. Accelerate isn't getting his due, I don't think.
He's not getting his due, and probably Diversify either. They're not household names. I mean, if you're not competing in Triple Crown races, a lot of people just haven't heard of the horses, but Accelerate and Diversify are two very good horses.
Now, it's very different here last summer. Gunrunner owned this meet. He owned the older horse division, and he backed it up. This year, it is just completely wide open. He obviously went on to win Horse of the Year. He's incredible, but now, as a result, that was a 5-horse field that we saw him run in.
Right. That's what's great about it, right, Greg? I mean, I know that Tom wishes there were only 12 in here, but I like the fact that 14 are going instead of 5 against. As much as you love to see a gun runner, and no knock on that, it's a wonderful racehorse. But I mean, this is as fun a race as we ever got. I can't wait to see those horses storming around the first turn.
Who would Gunrunner or Arrogate be in this edition?
They'd be facing 3.
That's right. Nobody enter. Yeah.
Tom, you'd have
go
one.
elsewhere.
You and Luce would find one.
I'd be happy to take second place against that horse, wouldn't you?
You're talking chocolate martini right there. Grade 1 stakes placed.
This race coming up here, favorite now it's back to Wooderson, the brother Rachel Alexandra, but again, a stern test in here. Guys downstairs talked about the slow pace last time out that he was part of up front. He should have a much sterner test on the front end today. And again, taking on older horses, taking on more experienced horses, taking on multiple winners. So it's a tall task.
It's a tall task, and I get all that. But, Greg, you said it earlier, and I agree 100%. His last race was very, very good. It was. It was much better than anything he's done to this point. The interview with Todd suggests that he's training forwardly. He would be no surprise in this spot, knowing what we know about him and how well he ran last time, and Todd feeling like he's training well. Or how about Maggie talking about how professional he was in the paddock? There's a lot of things to like about the 5. You look to the outside, Plainsman is a horse I like, but boy, the 7-horse, what is he doing at 3-1? I thought we'd get better odds than that.
Yeah, when Brad Cobb gets bet like this, though, I think you've seen it before, Tom. Often they run a little better than we expect. Now, I happen to like his chances. And I put Uncle Si on top. I did it because Uncle Si has the inside post. I very much considered putting Plainsman on top in this race as you did.
There is a look at Plainsman, Maggie Wolfendale, Tom Amos, both going with the son of Flatter, who's moved to the Brad Cox barn. We're going to check in with Maggie again right now.
Well, guys, we'll take a look at another horse who is going to be vying for the lead, I'd say, in there. And actually, I'm pretty convinced of it with number 5, Weather Whiz. He is really on his toes from the word go, stepping foot in the paddock, and he has gotten incredibly washy out there on the track. I don't think I'd like to see this with this horse. None of the other ones are quite as hot as he. You have to consider, too, is he expending too much energy? As Tom brought up, the jury's still out if 2-turn mile and 1/8 is really the ideal distance for this horse. I've always been a fan of him, more so at the 1-turn mile, too. I just don't like all the energy he has expended, though, going out for good connections in Centennial Farm and Jimmy Jerkins.
He's the 3-1 co-third choice on the board right now, and Maggie not liking what she sees from that one right there, the 5, Weather Whiz, who should be part of the pace here up front. We're just about set, loaded up here for the 5th at Saratoga. The brother to Rachel Alexandra, Woodward winner, is a 3-year-old filly, beating older males. Can her brother win on Woodward Day? The 4, Wooderson will try it. Let's send it upstairs to the voice, New York Racing, for the call, Larry Colmus.
They're all in line. They're off. A sharp start by Lenstar, who goes out to the front. Weather Whiz, Wooderson, and Tresekis are right behind, racing for that first turn. And they're followed by Mr. Dougie Fresh on the inside. Uncle Si and Plainsman are at the rear of the field as Lenstar has the early lead. Weather Whiz a length and a half behind. Wooderson follows in 3rd. Tresekis 4th on the far outside. Mr. Dougie Fresh 5th as they head to the backstretch, riding the rail 4 lengths off the lead. And then back to Uncle Si and Plainsman. 23.96 the initial quarter mile for Lenstar and Luis Saez. A long shot heading up the backstretch in front. The leader by a length over Weather Whiz in 2nd. Wooderson is 3rd on the inside. Tresekis follows in 4th by a length and a half. Mr. Dougie Fresh is 4 lengths off the lead, 5th and on the rail. Then Uncle Si and Plainsman. The half mile in 48.01. Up the backstretch they go. And it is Lenstar all the way so far. Heading for the half-mile pole with almost a 2-length lead on Weather Whiz and Wooderson. Mr. Dougie Fresh and Trace Eckes behind that pair. Clear of Uncle Si and Plainsman on the inside. Lenstar heading into the far turn. Weather Whiz a bit closer now as Luis Saez pumps on Lenstar to keep this lead. 3/4 in 1:11.84. Weather Whiz now within a neck. It's 2.5 lengths to Wooderson in third. Then it's Uncle Si wide fourth. Plainsman even farther out and trying to put in a bid. They're coming to the top of the stretch. Weather Whiz heads Lenstar as they turn for home. It is Weather Whiz, and Lenstar is given way as Wooderson tries to put in a bid on the outside. Plainsman is charging down the center, down to the final 16th. Weather Whiz in front. Wooderson, Plainsman on the far outside, running out of time and ground. They're coming down to the line. It's going to be a photo finish, and Weather Whiz held off Wooderson to win it. Plainsman was third, and Lenstar was fourth.
Weather Whiz holding off Wooderson for the victory here. Javier Castellano for Jimmy Jerkins and Centennial Farms.
Set a great trip right off the speed set by Lenstar, the 3-horse. Our half to Rachel Alexander, the 4-horse Wooderson, was not relaxed going to the first turn, tossing his head a little bit, cost him a little bit there. Didn't settle down till late in the race, and then a late close by the 7 Plainsman. No excuses for anybody else.
Well, Joel Rosario, he got a hot dog, some nachos, and a Diet Coke at the new stretch with the 7. I mean, he literally went 15 wide, and he didn't have to. And the 5 showed a lot of guts here, Andy.
Well, you know, it's interesting watching the race and take nothing away from the 5 Weather Whiz. He was the best horse at the end of the race, and he got it done. They were not going that fast up front. Mr. Dougie Fresh didn't break, and he was nowhere near the pace. So Lenstar is a bit overmatched. He was going an honest but not particularly fast pace. So Weather Whiz finds himself in that very comfortable, perfect position, stalking an overmatched horse in a moderate pace. And even Wooderson's, who looked like he was packing it into the turn, he came back. He got a good trip, too. I'm a huge Joel Rosario fan, as you know. I didn't bet Plainsman. If you bet him, even at 2-1, Joel cost this horse the race. I don't know why he didn't make any attempt to split, to sort of save ground in the turn. I mean, he got carried out, as you guys said, the middle of the racetrack. Plainsman, especially considering the dynamics of the race and the trip, he was an hour the best.
5, 4, 7, 3 Weather Whiz at 3-1. With the victory here in race 5, Javier Castellano for Jimmy Jerkins, Centennial Farms, and the son of Tiz Now. Picks up just the 2nd win of his career. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back. There's Jimmy Jerkins, having a fantastic meet. At one point, reeled off 5 consecutive victories with his starters. When we come back, he's been a fixture at New York racetracks for a 1/4 of a century, entertaining fans here at Saratoga all the time. We say goodbye to Sam the Bugler when we come back.
This successful son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast, a multiple Grade 1 winner and runner-up in the $16 million Pegasus World Cup. This year, Flatter is adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record at stud. In the auction ring, Flatter topped the 2018 Fasig-Tipton July sale with a $520,000 yearling. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Welcome back again to Saratoga Live on Woodward Day. Well, race number 5 is in the books, and it went to Weather Whiz. And pleased to be joined here by his trainer, and Jimmy Jerkins. And Jimmy, Weather Whiz, a horse last time out, caught a muddy track. Was that kind of his undoing?
It was kind of deep that day, but I think to get the lead, we kind of made this decision to try to make the lead, and he broke from the far outside. He had to use him pretty good, and it told on him late. But I thought he hung in there pretty tough.
And having a kind of target here today with the long shot going out in front of him, do you think that helped him a bit?
Definitely. I felt good going halfway down the backside, but you know, I know Todd's horse is a nice 3-year-old. He ran big last time. He beat a horse of ours who came back and won, who we think a lot of. So I was definitely worried about him, but he had a little left this time.
And Weather Whiz, a horse that now he's finally paired 3 races back to back. Is it just kind of him getting over, kind of niggling things and turning out to be quite a nice horse now?
Yeah, you know, it's the first time he's been able to run with any kind of continuity. So, you know, he's starting to get the hang of it, and he's becoming a pro.
That's for sure. Look good in the winner's circle. Jimmy, job well done.
Thanks a lot.
All right, guys, Weather Whiz, he's getting on track here.
Yeah, he certainly is. 2 wins now in his last 3 starts, and on fast main tracks, he's won 2 in a row. $8.70 for the victory. Jimmy Jerkins, Centennial Farms, and Javier Castellano.
Well, they talk about pace making the race. Weather Whiz in a very, very good spot. And between him and the horse that was on the lead on the inside, the 3, Lenstar, they put Wooderson in a really bad spot, and a horse that wanted to do more in the first turn, but was stuck in position with Johnny Velasquez. Watch him in the blue cap. And watch the horse's head. He keeps throwing. He's trying to break the cross that Johnny has on him to go faster. There's nowhere for Velasquez to go. You can see him throwing his head right now. The 4 horse we're looking at. Look how high his head is now. He keeps bobbing it up and down, wanting to do more. Velasquez can't let him. There's nowhere to go right now. He doesn't relax for probably another 1/4 mile, and that's the difference between winning and losing the race.
Yeah, he just sort of gets him a little tired and takes his punch. And here's my thing now. I want you to keep it on stop on replay. The 7 is complete on the outside. Joel waits a tiny bit more. He cuts the inside. He goes outside the 1. He didn't need to go outside the 1.
Exactly. He should have been inside of the horse in those orange and blue silks, who was #1 Uncle Si, and outside the horse in white. We're huge Joe Rosario fans. I think he's one of the most underrated top riders in the country. Takes a lot of grief, but it's rides like this you go, Joel, what were you thinking, man?
It's not that you're exactly.
He's the king of saving ground the turn and angling out the stretch. He's the king of that. That's why he's so good in turf sprints.
Yeah, it's just one. I think the 1 might have floated out on him a tiny bit, but you make a good point. It's not that he's 7 wide. It was that he was 7 wide before he was 6 wide.
Angling out in the stretch isn't a big deal. It's where are you on the turn?
Yeah.
And as you say, yeah, maybe he didn't expect the wide to drift, but boy, he could have gone inside of him, and he wins if he does that.
Look at the field for race 6. By the way, that early pick 5, 19,000 plus, and that's a result of a Rudy Rodriguez horse off the claimed off of Chad Brown, who won at a monster price.
I think he may have put blinkers on, but I know he definitely shortened him up from 2 turns to 1.
That 6 race,
a Chad Brown big favorite.
Yes, he did 2 of them, in fact. But yeah, one who was odds-on favorite. Mile and 16th on the turf in race 6. Maiden special weight. We'll talk more about it when we come back. Of course, our show brought to you each and every day in part by Champion Sprinter. Run Happy, a look at him there at the farm in Claiborne in Paris, Kentucky. One of his great moments came right here at Saratoga in the King's Bishop. He went off at 11-1 that day. Was sensational. Would go on, of course, to set a track record in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. More Saratoga Live on the way.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired, New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a 2nd time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close 2nd in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New New York breds. Get with the program.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a link to the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
To move to Florida, I want to be with my wife. I married the nicest person on the face of the earth a year and a half ago, and it's
You're watching Saratoga Live. Oh, Broadway and Caroline Street. That is the heart of it, and that's where Tom's looking forward to going happy hour after the show.
What do you say?
You gonna make it in time?
Yeah, sure.
I asked you earlier off air. I said, what are you doing tonight? It's Tom's last night at Saratoga. Maybe with your partner. Let's go out, have a good time. No, I'm going home, going to bed.
College football. What's wrong with you? Got some great games tonight.
Yeah, we do.
Michigan Wolverines. Got an SEC quarterback. Big upgrade.
Everyone excited about college football, but we're very excited about seeing the end of final few days here of this meet at Saratoga as well. Maiden special weight coming up here in the 6th on the card. Mile and a 16th on the turf. And right now it's Southern Bridge. Bill Mott, Jose Ortiz, second time out, who is the 5-2 favorite.
Yeah, our first two choices, Southern Bridge, the 9-horse, and the 5-2 favorite, and our 2-horse, Noble Spirit, the second choice. They come out of the same race, and both ran a little bit the same in the sense that the last eighth of a mile, they just each got a little tired on the end. Some improvement there would help them a lot. Why is Southern Bridge favored over Noble Spirit when they finished so close? He didn't break well. He had to go around everybody. He had more of a license to get tired, the 9 did, than the 2 Noble Spirit.
There's the race, but that's no guarantee. Second time out that Noble Spirit's not going to run better if they both have a clean trip.
No, but, I mean, did anything wow you in that race, Greg? I mean, there could be something that could step up here and take those two on. So value lays out elsewhere to me.
Oh, absolutely. This is a great betting race here coming up. There's Southern Bridge. So second time out for a Hall of Fame trainer here, Bill Mott's on a lemon drop kid. And I don't think anybody in this race should be 5-2.
Well, we got a bunch of first-time starters. We're going to look to pedigree for that. I know Andy is big on that, as I am as well. Pedigree can make the race sometimes. So when you're looking at some of these, you might also want to look at what the board tells you about some of these first-time starters.
We'll definitely keep our eyes on that, see if we can get any clues. So important in these 2-year-old races right now. How they look, obviously important as well as we check downstairs in the paddock.
You know, I don't like the 2 and 9 Noble Spirit and Southern Bridge, and think Noble Spirit with his better post actually has a much better chance to win. I don't like the race they come out of. The second place finisher was 5th last week at about even money in one of these races. I think it's very likely, Paul, there's somebody better. Now, who might it be? What about the 3 Spirit Animal? Carver Stable running away with the owner's title. Chad Brown running away with the trainer's title. Javier Castellano. This horse has been turf mentioned since the start. Why isn't he a logical horse here?
Yeah, he is a logical horse. And it seems like the Chad horses that have been taken off turf, they've all come back to run well on the turf when they've got scheduled back on. So I don't think this is going to be any different. Bernstein on the bottom side is a sneaky influence on the turf, considering he's the son of Stormcat.
Right, there's not a lot of production on the dam side of
Yeah.
this horse, but you got a Bernstein dam, you got Lemon Drop Kid, plenty of turf for a turf outfit. The number 7, Noble Nebraskan. Interesting with this horse. The dam's thrown 2 horses to try a turf. One of them won. It was pretty good, though. It's Noble Mission, who's a full to Frankel, is the sire. The second dam, well, Honest Lady, the second dam, was a terrific sprinter for Bobby Frankel and Juddmonte. She's produced 5 horses to try the turf. They're all winners, and they're good. This horse has a huge pedigree of the graph for the very dangerous George Weaver.
Yeah, and you know, I wouldn't be saying 9-1's being dismissed at the window because the horse hasn't had a start. The sire's only 5%, but Noble Missions, they've been running actually in the dirt too, and the turf. I know he's only 5%, but they've been running okay.
We've seen George win with big price firsters going long on the turf in years past. Maggie Wolfendale is in the paddock.
Thanks, Andy. And as always, this paddock report brought to you by Hillendale Farms, as we'll start with the horse who has run but is trying the turf for the first time for the ever-dangerous Chad Brown barn, searching for win number 41 here with number 3, Spirit Animal, who is intended to run on the turf. And I totally agree with what you guys were saying in that Bernstein is quite a nice influence. Now, looking at him, he does have those slacker pasterns, and he kind of has that more angular frame to him overall, and he's actually a little bit more settled, relaxed in his second start, which I would have to think is a good thing. And he did come over first time looking very fit, so no change there, but this is just the right surface and condition. Moving on to first time starters, number 5 is Just Call Me Norman. Mark Cassie's braver than I, naming a horse after his son, but this guy does look extremely fit. Should be okay on the turf, though it is a little bit more of a synthetic pedigree, but sometimes that translates well. But really what I've noticed most about him is that he is just very well prepared, very prepared. He's keen, he's cranked up for this start, so we'll see what he does out there. Is number 7, Noble Nebraskan. The same cannot be said, and that I think definitely a turf router for sure, but he's a bit green. He's a little soft around the edges. As you see, he's just not sure what's going on here. A little agitated. I'm going to take a wait and see an approach with him, but is George Weaver. And he's saying you're absolutely wrong as he screams once again here in the paddock. And then a huge long shot is number 4, Staccato for Wayne Lucas. Now, a son of Hardspun, there isn't much influence on the bottom side. Oh, is he starting as well? But does have a turf hoof to him. Boy, big, gorgeous animal who is sharp in here, is on his toes. I found him very interesting, at least to the eye, as far as first-time starters are concerned. Here, Greg.
Well, intriguing field of young runners, a lot of debuters, others with just a start under their belt, and winning factor, the 6 horse, the only one with multiple starts to his credit. That is a 6 horse in here, as we're going to hear the call to post from Sam the Bugler coming up here in just a moment. Of course, Sam the Bugler, otherwise known as Sam Grossman. He's been entertaining fans here for a quarter of a century. But after Monday's finale, he'll be playing his final notes on the New York circuit.
My wife wants me to move to Florida. I want to be with my wife. I married the nicest person on the face of the earth a year and a half ago, and it's time for that part of my life to start, and I'm excited about it. You know, I've been in a costume for 25 and a half years, and I've loved it. And it's a great joy of my life. But I woke up one day and I said, you know what? The gig's done. And you know, you just know. You wake up one day and you know. The gig's done. When you're in this environment, you're with the best in the world, the best jockeys in the world, the best gate crew, the best outriders, the best everything, man. And it's very intimidating. And trust me when I tell you I work on this many, many hours a day because I wanted to fit in. If you're not a harsh critic, you're not going to fit in here. It's just mediocre doesn't fit in here.
I wish you all the best, new chapter in your life. Thank you for giving a lot of happiness.
He just walks the grounds and comes up to different groups of people and plays whatever anybody asks. We're going to miss him.
Yeah, we'll be sorry to see him go.
I'm nervous on all of the big days for the big race for only one reason. Because you can play the thing brilliantly for 100 years, but if you flop it once on national television, That's the only thing they're going to remember. And that's human nature. So I'm not a perfect person, clearly, but I aspire to always be a better person, and I always aspire to be a better player.
Sam, you've been a fixture here for almost as long as I have, and you are a true friend of the people and the fans here, and we are going to sorely miss you.
Wow. I'd like to be remembered as someone who thought it was an honor to play those beautiful thoroughbreds onto the track, and the best jockeys in the world, and that I gave everything I had for these beautiful people every single day.
The track for race 5 with exactly trifecta, superfecta, victory.
He has been a fixture on this circuit for a quarter of a century. Sam Grossman entertaining the fans, coming out to Belmont, to Saratoga, to Aqueduct for a long, long time. And after Monday's finale, that is it for him. He has been a treasure here on the New York circuit. You saw Javier Castellano, trainer Gary Contessa in that piece, wishing him well. We all wish Sam Grossman the best as he moves on to the next phase of life.
I met him after the races, walking out. He couldn't have been more gracious. Wonderful man.
We're going to hear a call to post here coming up as we get set for race 6 here on this Woodward Day card for these 2-year-olds at 1 1/16 on the turf. Beautiful from Sam Grossman, known as Sam the Bugler, out here in the New York Racing Association circuit, saying goodbye to him after 25 years of service. Sad to see him go, but he has been tremendous. Our post parade coming up here for race 6, and we're going to start out here with a first-time starter for Dominic Schettino. In just a moment here, as the horses making their way shortly out here, and the price has gotten even lower on Southern Bridge for Hall of Famer Belmont, the 9-horse here, son of Lemon Drop Kid, 2-1.
2-1 on our favorite. Gets the same rider back in Jose Ortiz. I think that's important after that first start, which was certainly an education.
What about the horse like the 6 in here, Winning Factor? Speed rider, showed speed sprinting, now stretching out, and sometimes that 2-sprint stretching out could be the best time going longer.
He's had 2 starts. Only 1 was on the turf. He showed he liked the turf. That was a sprint, and that family is sprint. I don't know if he can take them all the way.
That's the 6-horse Winning Factor we're talking about. He's on the board at 8-1 right now. So here comes Angelo's Corner, again, trained by Dominic Schettino, and it is Dylan Davis on board.
I've never even heard the sire perspective. This horse is a long shot for a reason.
26-1 on the board for the debuter. George Weaver sends out his second-time starter, Noble Spirit, and Luis Saez rides for West Point Thoroughbreds.
So it ran around the racetrack in 3rd the whole way, but did run 3rd, a little bit under 10-1. You're going to get 7-2 today.
Well, the record-setting win for Chad Brown come here. Spirit Animal, the meet's leading owner, Klarovich Stables, with this one with Javier Castellano.
Likely to be close to being favored by post time for a reason. The connection, Chad Brown is just so good in these situations.
Staccato, big price for Dwayne Lucas, son of Hard Spun. We'll have David Cohen in the irons.
Yeah, Calumet charge. Pretty amazing to see that Dwayne Lucas 0 for his last 42 with his first-time starters.
Just Call Me Norman. Of course, Mark Cassie, trainer, his son, Norm, just went out on his own earlier this year, and Irad Ortiz Jr. meets leading rider aboard.
I'm going to guess his name for Mark's father, actually, Norman Cassie, but you never really know. There is some pedigree. I have the 2 turf winners.
Winning Factor, Kendrick Carmouche, Robert Barbera, and this is the horse that showed speed sprinting on the turf back on July 8th.
Yeah, it could be dangerous with the speed here with Kendrick aboard. Look for her, the gray, look for him, the gray son of Factor on the front end.
Noble Nebraskan, the first timer for George Weaver. Manny Franco rides here at 10-1.
My choice, the price here, has plenty of pedigree to be a turf horse for a very sharp trainer looking at her 2nd win today.
Agitator is the 8. Nick Zito sends out the son of Lemon Drop Kid, who gets on the turf here for the first time with Jose Lezcano.
You know, this horse got a monster pedigree for the turf. So 22-1's not the worst, and 35-1 first time, but that was just an education. Look for a better race today.
And here's Southern Bridge, favorite for Bill Mott with Jose Ortiz.
I have no idea why this horse is a heavy favorite. He gets a much tougher post than last time. He comes out of a weak division. I think there are plenty of new faces that rate to be better.
And here is Hubba Bubba, David Canizzo, son of Exchange Rate with Ricardo Santana Jr. Sprinted on the turf here at Saratoga back on August the 13th.
Yeah, this horse broke in a tangle. It says, and when I watched it, it was. But, you know, he really didn't do much running after that, but taking a little bit of money at the window.
Here's Sam the Bugler. We're going to hear him a few more times over the course of the next few days, and then off to Fort Lauderdale for Sam. Take a look at the trainer standings. It has been a one-sided affair, and it's soon to be a record-setting moment for Chad Brown. He equaled the record he set 2 years ago with his 40th win. That was equaled by Todd Pletcher last year, so one win away from the all-time mark at this historic racetrack as we take a look at what he has left here in, this is just today. He is loaded with horses still to come.
He is indeed. I look at what he has to run the rest of this weekend. How can it not happen for him? I just put the kiss of death on him. But I think it's not even going to be close. He'll knock it out today, and then he'll set some new records after that.
Of course, the Glens Falls, excuse me. And we'll close out our Naira bets. Late pick 5. He has maybe the top 3 horses to beat in that race, let alone the one to beat, as we take a look at his runner in this spot, Spirit Animal, with Javier Castellano. 3-1 on the board right now. Mark Casse, he's got plenty of work still to come this afternoon. He'll be represented, of course, with 2-year-old fillies in the spin-away, and he has the first timer here in this spot, the 5. Just Call Me Norman. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale for more.
Thanks, guys. And a pretty sentimental name with Just Call Me Norman. And Mark, I'll let you tell the story. Obviously, this is a horse owned by you and your wife.
Well, by my wife, but it's about 2 weeks before when my dad passed away, and then 2 weeks later, this foal was born. It was his last horse, and then, of course, the mare died the next day, so he was bottle fed on the farm for. He's very spoiled, but the lady Cindy Black, who's worked for me about 25 years, every time my dad would come to visit, and she would always call him Mr. Casse, and my dad would always say, "Just call me Norman." And so
it's quite fitting, that's for sure. And I mean, talk a little bit about what you think of him, what we might expect to see here today.
Well, you know what? We thought he was pretty good. I've trained, you know, I trained Uncaptured. I trained the mare. The mare was a Grade 3 winner. Yep. He's a little slow at coming out of the gate, and that was one of the reasons why I ran him long. And we broke him 3 or 4 times, and it hasn't caught on yet. I'm hoping it catches on today, but the only time we had him on the turf, he went well over it. So, you know, we're hoping for the best.
One that isn't slow out of the gate is the young lady you'll be sending out in the spin-away, looking to capture back-to-back wins here at Saratoga with Catherine the Great. I mean, it's a tough field, but she has proven that she's very nice.
It is a very tough race. Bob could have stayed in California, would have been fine with me. But it's a tough race. She's training really well. I was impressed with her first start. And if she can come back with that, I think they have to beat her.
All right, Mark. Well, best of luck in both spots here today.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Just Call Me Norman. Certainly a sentimental pick here in this 6th race.
Absolutely. That's a touching story right there. And, of course, Mark Casse started off this meet the right way. Catherine the Great, she was sensational in the Grade 3 Schuylerville. It's been a tough meet for him since that time, but she is very talented, and we'll see how she does coming back. Facing, of course, the sister to Triple Crown champion American Pharaoh, among others, in that spin-away.
Who looked like a real pro in California and looked like she is the one to beat. I thought Mark Casse had a telling statement that pertains not only to this race, but turf races going long for the young horses. These first-time stars are in here. They're typically horses that don't show that they can win sprinting. They're not precocious enough. They're not leaving the gate fast enough. So when you're trying to set up pace in a race like this, and you're looking at the first-timers, I wouldn't look or expect any of the first-time starters to be close to the pace early, and Mark said his probably won't be either. Which brings us to the 6, Winning Factor, who is going to be in front here and is going to be clear in front of the rest of this group early on. Now, gate to wire, 2 turns, those are questions, particularly on pedigree and Winning Factor. But if you're looking to bet speed against no other speed in the race, lone speed, I think you get it here with 6 Winning Factor.
6-1 right now, guys, and there is Kendrick Carmouche on this Son of the Factor.
No, those are great points by Tom, and I don't think he particularly likes the 6 Winning Factor, nor do I, and I don't think you're a big fan either, Paul, but I think his point is very well taken. You want the speed. He's supposed to be the speed unless someone goes on a mission. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the 2 Noble Spirit, the 9 Southern Bridge. First of all, last time they ran, Southern Bridge had the 4 posts. Today he has the 9 posts. That's 5 post positions out. The 2 Noble Spirit had the 9 posts. Now he has the 2. That's 7 in. That's an 11 post position swing where posts really matter in 2-turn races. Yet for some reason, the 2 Noble Spirit is a much bigger price, even just for those reasons. And by the way, Noble Spirit finished ahead of the number 9 Southern Bridge. I don't get it. I just don't get why. Shouldn't Noble Spirit just be a shorter price, whether you like or don't like either one of them?
I guess people are thinking Bill Mott doesn't crank his horses up, maybe?
He wins
early?
with firsters going long. He's done it quite a few times up here. He's a crafty man.
I do think the 6, though, the way the horse is getting bet might be tough to pass here late.
I just think that the 2 that have run, I don't like the race that either Southern Bridge or Noble Spirit ran out of. I don't think either of them ran particularly well in there. And I just think, whether you think the 6 can wire the field or whether it's the Chad Brown Spirit Animal or one of the firsters, I just think there's so much more going on in this race. And I'm not saying they can't win, because maybe none of these horses can run. The 6 can't get the distance, and none of these ones. But the 2 and 9 didn't run well enough in the turf to believe that somebody isn't going to come along, whoever it is, and beat them.
Andy, let me enlighten you about the 9 Southern Bridge. First of all, Southern Bridge broke slow that day, had to go around everyone that day. And Bill Mott, yes, he is one of the first-time starters going long, but this horse sure showed signs of a horse that would improve in his second start. More so, I thought the Noble Spirit looked like a much more educated horse in the last race when they ran against each other.
I hear you on that. I don't agree. I thought Southern Bridge was the same wide, 2 wide in the first turn that Noble Spirit was. It was 3 to 4 wide in the second turn, I will agree. But look at the horse who ran second, Digital Footprint. I mean, he had the widest trip of all. He had the toughest trip of all, and he came back with a dismal 5th-place finish at even money last week.
Well, experience pays in maiden races, and we both know that. Can you make a strong case for any of these first-time starters?
Well, I mean, Spirit Animal isn't a firster, but he's a first-time turfer. You know, I mean, you look at things like that. Even the 8 Agitator, who's a half to 4 turf winners from 4 to try it, and the Dam is a half to the Mighty Vindication. There's plenty of pedigree to move forward in grass.
I'm not in love with the Dam side of the pedigree on the 3, Spirit Animal for the grass.
Yeah, but Chad
put it
Brown
out there right now.
Chad Brown has been so dangerous over the years, Tom, with these horses with mediocre turf pedigrees, and he points to the turf.
Loading up, favorite by a slim margin. Bill Mott's Southern Bridge here, the 9, with Jose Ortiz. Field full of inexperienced 2-year-olds. Part of the reason why we love this Saratoga meet, to see these emerging stars who will step up. Pick 4 starts right here. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call, Larry Colmus.
Last couple of runners coming up now. Just Call Me Norman and Erod Ortiz Jr. about to take their spot in the starting gate. Just a bit hesitant to step forward. They're opening up the front of the gates here for Just Call Me Norman. Meanwhile, 2-to-1 odds in Southern Bridge as Just Call Me Norman is almost in there. Now goes into line. And now we're just waiting for Hubba Bubba, who steps forward and in, and they're all in line. They're off. Hubba Bubba and Winning Factor. These 2 out for the early lead together. And then it's Noble Spirit who came out running in 3rd. Spirit Animal goes up in between horses. Southern Bridge is there on the outside. And then comes Angelo's Corner. A length and a half farther back to Just Call Me Norman, who's next as they move into that turn. Saving the ground there is Noble Nebraskan, clear from Staccato and Agitator. Heading on to the backstretch here. And it is Winning Factor in front. Prompted along by Hubba Bubba through a 23.76 opening quarter mile. Break of 2 to Noble Spirit and Spirit Animal. Head and head, 3rd and 4th up the back stretch. And then it's Southern Bridge sitting in 5th under Jose Ortiz, 5.5 lengths off the lead. Angelo's Corner is next on the inside. Then Noble Nebraskan. Just Call Me Norman. Staccato is second last. Agitator is 12 lengths behind at the rear of the field after a 48.28 half mile for Winning Factor, who leads Hubba Bubba by 3/4 of a length. Spirit Animal ranging up on the outside in third. Noble Spirit rides the rail into the turn in fourth. And then at Southern Bridge, fifth on the outside by 2. Noble Nebraskan, Just Call Me Norman next. Dropping back is Angelo's Corner as they make their way around the far turn. It is Winning Factor and Hubba Bubba, and here comes Spirit Animal up to them. Just Call Me Norman is coming 4 wide. Noble Spirit in behind the leaders. Southern Bridge is there, and Noble Nebraskan on the inside, and they're coming into the final furlong. Spirit Animal has taken the lead. Spirit Animal and Hubba Bubba to the inside. Noble Spirit tries to close in. Then it's Winning Factor and Noble Nebraskan, and they're coming down to the line. And here's number 41 for Chad Brown, the record breaker. Spirit Animal won it. It was Hubba Bubba second, followed by Noble Nebraskan and Agitator.
The new all-time record for victories at this historic race meet goes to Chad Brown, number 41 for the reigning Eclipse Award-winning trainer. This has got to be a very special moment.
Appropriate that Chad Brown should win it, set that title for Klarovich Stables, who are leading as the owners too and have been so important to him over the years. Source ran very well, and it seems like nobody really closed in this race, to be honest. And I'll tell you something, Paul, that was some performance by Hubba Bubba as well to finish second. He was game as could be.
Yeah, he really was. He stuck to the 6, and you're thinking, okay, when's he gonna put the 10 away? But he never could, and then the 3 put the 10 away. And Spirit Animal, and there is a jubilant Chad Brown.
There was Seth Klarman. It's nice to see them enjoy this success together, both of them.
Yeah, it's really fitting that it ended up being one of Seth's horses that put him over the top. Isn't it, Andy? I mean, they have been a formidable team, won the Preakness together, have so many horses together. They are a bond, those two.
It's amazing. You know, this is the 5th winning 2-year-old performance for Klarovich. In fact, 2 on the turf, 3 in the dirt, and 1 close second to that monster for Kieran. So a tremendous meeting, not just for them winning all those races, but to have 2-year-olds going forward. A lot to look forward to.
3:10.78, record-breaking 41st victory here at the meet for Chad Brown. Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
Oh, wow. Giving Chad a congratulatory kiss for getting win number 1 of the meet. Chad, was your mom?
Yes, my mom and dad are here. My brother, my nephew, my sister-in-law, everyone's here. So it's just a good feeling to do it here at home.
That's true, and it really is kind of your home. To set a new winning record for the meet at this place, what does it feel like?
It's an unbelievable feeling for me, my family, my coworkers, my clients, all the fans, family that's here. This is our home track, our home stadium, and we don't want to ever disappoint them.
And I always hear people shouting at you, giving you the high five and everything. Everybody loves their hometown hero and you, Chad, and it is special to do it with Seth Klarman as well.
Yeah, leading owner for the first time at Saratoga. He's had a tremendous meet. He's been a supporter of mine right along from almost the very beginning, and I'm so happy he was here today to see it in person and enjoy this win with us.
Well, Chad, go take your big win picture here today with Spirit Animal.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Very special moment for a man who will one day be enshrined across the street in the Hall of Fame. Chad Brown, just incredible what he has accomplished over the last 3 seasons here at Saratoga. First time he ever won this meet was 2 seasons ago, and he set a new record then with 40 victories. There's Seth Klarman of Klarovich Stables, who you mentioned Cloud Computing. He teamed up to win the Preakness with. By the way, Cloud Computing back in Chad Brown's barn and looking to return later this fall.
Look, he's a big one. He's a good horse, Cloud Computing. I know he's one of Andy's favorites on the trail last year in the 3-year-old division. Let's give some credit to Javier Castellano on that ride. I mean, he set right off the pace, set by the outside horse Hubba Bubba and Winning Factor. He was in a great position turning for home, took advantage of it, got to the wire first.
Red and white silks with the KS on it for Klarovich Stables. Meets leading owners, and by a long ways, they're having a tremendous meet. But of course, Chad Brown, a historic meet with number 41.
That's a great comment by Tom, because if you watch the early part of this race coming out of the gate, Javier's very aggressive with Spirit Animal to get position with him. And that made the difference because, let's be honest, the pace did not fall apart in this race. And if Spirit Animal hadn't found that early position, then the long shot Hubba Bubba would be in the winner's circle.
2 wins today for Javier Castellano. And even if you did like this horse and, you know, we thought it was such a wide open race going in, still able to create value underneath with Hubba Bubba at a big, big number, completing the exacta.
Was indeed. You know, he had trouble in his first start on the turf, but boy, you get beat 13 lengths in your first start on the grass, kind of makes you wonder, is the grass for you? I would say Hubba Bubba's got a future. As far as the 9-horse goes, Southern Bridge, he wasn't going to win today, but he did not have a good trip. Had to wait for room for almost the majority of the way from the 3/8 pole to the quarter pole.
It's all prices underneath. The 10 Hubba Bubba, the 7 Noble Nebraskan, the 8 Agitator, but it was Spirit Animal. This one, the record breaker. Chad Brown getting congratulations from Seth Klarman there of Klarovich Stables. Number 41. No one has ever won that many at this historic meeting ever before. What a moment for Chad Brown. We'll be back with more Saratoga Live right after this, and he's not done yet today.
Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
This graded stakes winner and multiple Grade 1 performer by Tapit has become one of the nation's leading sires of 2-year-olds. Ranked number 1 in his crop by number of winners, he sired 11 stakes horses in 2017, including graded stakes winners Wild Shot and Oklahoma Derby winner Untrapped. At the sales, his yearlings have sold up to $480,000. Trap Shot, standing at Claiborne Farm.